Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, hidden in the basement of Cinderella's Castle, here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth, this is the Solo Show. On this edition, Stan welcomes to the guest host chair to discuss Disney Plus so far, Justin Cunningham. And now, please welcome your host, the man whose legal middle name is Darkwing, Stan Solo.
Okay, that's enough. Simmer down. Okay, that's enough. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo and I'm one of the co-hosts today. Along with me, I have my good friend that we met in person even. It's nice when I can meet people in person. It's the Star Wars Celebration. Justin Cunningham. Justin, how are you, my friend?
I am doing very well, Stan. It's great to be here.
Excellent. Now, you're no relation to Richie Cunningham, are you?
No, none at all, unfortunately.
No? Okay. You didn't get to walk the set of Solo before they were recording it or anything?
Nothing lucky like that.
Right. So we're here today to talk about Disney Plus, but before we get into Disney Plus, I just wanted, Justin, you're a travel agent, is that correct?
I am. I work with a travel agency called Dreams by Design Travel, based out of Western Pennsylvania here near where I'm at. And I've been in the travel agency business about 4 years and primarily focus on Disney and Orlando-based travel.
Excellent. So if people want to book a trip with you, how do they go about it?
Couple different ways. One of the easiest ways, of course, catching me on Facebook, facebook.com/snapshotjustin. You can reach me at justin@dreamsbydesign.travel, or feel free to give me a phone call at 814-248-2987.
Excellent. Nice. And we'll put the contact information in the show notes so you can just click it and you'll get straight to the email or something like that. Now, we're here to talk Disney Plus. We're recording this on Thursday, November 21st. It's going to be released a few days from now, this edition. And it's a little over a week that Disney Plus has been around. What is it now, like 9 days, something like that?
Yep.
So were you on first day?
I was in a little bit of an odd place at that point in time. I was actually at Disney World and was there with my family. So ended up waking up because I'm used to waking up with my son. I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 2-year-old son. And my son usually wakes up at least once or twice during the night. I happen to wake up because I'm used to checking on him, and ended up seeing on Facebook that the apps had started to drop at around, I think whenever I caught it was about 2:10 in the morning. Okay. So I signed in right away and watched the first episode of The Mandalorian at that point in time.
That is exactly what I did. I couldn't sleep. I got up at 2 in the morning and I go, I'll just check to see if the app's up yet. I mean, it's not supposed to be, but you never know. So I grabbed my iPad. I keep it beside my bed, logged in. Lo and behold, the app's there. Did you have any trouble downloading the app? It downloaded like in 2 seconds for me.
Yeah, app download was very quick.
Yeah, and at 2 in the morning, there wasn't 10 million people on yet. I was able to register really easy. I put on The Mandalorian first thing, same as you did.
Yeah, that's definitely first thing I rushed into. Unfortunately, I was just doing it on my phone because I didn't want to disturb anyone. So I was watching it on my Samsung S8 Plus and watched it on the small screen, but enjoyed it nonetheless.
Yeah. Well, I had my iPad, so it's a little bit, not much bigger, but a little bit bigger than a Samsung Plus. And I didn't want to wake my wife up, so I went downstairs and got my earbuds. I plugged them in. Of course, as soon as the Lucasfilm logo came on, woohoo! I yell out. She woke up. She says, "What are you doing?" And, "Oh, I'm watching Star Wars." I mean, it's not the first time at 2 in the morning I wook her up by watching Star Wars on my iPad. Right. It's just, she's used to it. It's nothing new to her. And there was no glitches or during the day, I guess you were at Walt Disney World, so you really didn't log on to watch Disney Plus much, I'm guessing, that first day.
Not too much, although I during the day traditionally keep track of social media pretty frequently, and so I was seeing people were having issues with logging in a little bit. So I actually did try several times myself to log in. And I'd say it was probably about 50% of the time for the first 12 hours or so. Each time I logged in, about half the time I was successful immediately other times it took 1 or 2 tries.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I had during the day I was off that day, and I had a little bit of trouble. My TV and I have the Fire Stick, Amazon Fire Stick, and I also have the Roku stick, and those weren't working very well. But my iPad, I had no problem getting in ever, all day long. It was easy to get in. Yeah, there was a hiccup the first day, but I haven't had any problems since. Have you?
Not since. First day was the only snags that I've had. Right now, I'm using it on my phone. We have a couple tablets, Xbox 360, and haven't really seen any snags on any of those.
Yeah. I have an older LG smart TV, and it doesn't work on there at all. I can't even find the app on there.
Oh, you know what? Actually, that reminds me. I have a Vizio TV, and it won't let me do anything with it. Even though it's Chromecast capable, it says that it's not supported. So that's actually why I'm using my Xbox to connect in.
Yeah. I can't even find the app on my TV. I'm not sure if it's a Canadian thing or if it's an old TV or well, it's not that old. I don't know how old it is. I never watch it. I watch the Olympics on it twice a year. That's about all I use that TV for. It's a great TV. It's a beautiful picture, but it's in the basement. I don't really use the basement TV too much. So, what have you watched so far? What will you? I mean, Mandalorian. So far, we've seen 2 episodes. The 3rd episode comes out tomorrow. Are you loving it as much as I am?
Oh, so much. Everything from all the old throwback stuff, from like video games, to introduction of some new interesting characters. Now we probably want to avoid spoilers as much as possible here, but definitely looking forward to each episode. I think probably my biggest disappointment out of the entire thing is that the episodes aren't quite as long as I would have hoped.
Yeah, I thought they were going to be an hour long, is what I was expecting.
Right.
They are a bit shorter, but they cram a lot of content in that 1 hour.
They do.
For that 34 minutes, 42 minutes, wherever they are. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I'm loving this Mandalorian series. It's like best Star Wars in years, as far as I'm concerned.
And that's probably one of the biggest things with me is I'm so used to, because Star Wars, besides Disney, is sort of my other big thing, is what's going on in the Star Wars community. So many of the films have all come with mixed feedback. And like I have seen in a week and a half, one comment, and basically it was, well, I'm not as sold as everyone else, I'm going to give it a little bit more. That was the only negative comment that I've seen so far.
No, exactly. I think everybody's loving this Mandalorian. So what other things have you been watching?
I actually jumped in first into a lot of the originals that they're creating for it. The Imagineering story, which I absolutely love. Marvel Hero Project.
Ooh, I gotta watch that one yet. What's that one? Is that one good?
That one's really good. I actually am sort of familiar with it. The Marvel Hero Project basically is a special project that the Marvel company came up with where they wanted to highlight child heroes. And so the first story is about this young woman. I want to say she's 12 or 13 now.
Okay, so really young, yeah.
Yeah, and she is missing the lower part of her left arm. And she sort of made this project focusing, trying to help people that have different limb ability issues. She called it the Unicorn Project. And basically a lot of it is focused on using CAD design to create things that will either help them with their particular medical condition or just helps bring joy. Like the one thing that she created for herself with the project name being called the Unicorn Project is she actually created a lower prosthetic for her arm that's a unicorn horn that isn't just pretty, but it actually blows glitter out of the end of it.
Oh, that's very cool.
And so what they did was they sort of filmed them, and I didn't realize exactly to the extent that they had done it because I had seen this. I want to say this had occurred a couple years back initially. And what they did was they created a mini comic book of that person, but they sort of went through and sort of...
So that's where the Marvel part comes in.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And so they sort of went through their daily life, sort of covering like, well, what are they doing? Things to that effect without the kids knowing. They thought it was just sort of like a news thing or something like that. And at some sort of special event, they would have their parent read them this letter from Marvel from their staff, basically stating why they felt that they basically were their own superhero. And they would present, another family member would present them with this box that would say Marvel on it. And when they open it, it'd have this beautiful custom-made leather jacket, basically, with the Marvel Hero Project logo.
Oh, nice.
And in the bottom of that, like, it's cool enough for Marvel to say, hey, we think you're special.
Yeah.
Here's a coat. But then in the bottom would be this special limited run comic book. It was only like a little four-sheeter, and then it would fold open, and there's a huge poster of them as their superhero form.
Oh, nice.
So the first one was about that young lady, and the second one is a gentleman that's, I want to say he's not even 10, and he focuses on child abuse and speaks out and does fundraising for organizations and stuff like that. So really neat.
Yeah, I'll have to check
project.
that one out. I've seen it in the menu, and I've been wanting to check it out. I haven't had a chance yet. How about, did you watch The Lady and the Tramp movie?
I just finished that one 2 nights ago.
And what did you think of that?
I liked it. I thought it was done well. Couple new good pieces of music in it. And I heard that all the dogs were rescues that were used in the film.
Yes.
Which I thought was neat. On top of that, it was a well done movie.
I got to meet the stars of that show.
Oh, you did?
Movie. Yeah, they had the dogs at D23. They brought them out on stage.
Oh, that's
the Lady
cool.
and the Tramp, the 2 dogs. I didn't get to meet them. I was in the audience and they were on the stage, so I got to see them. It's kind of neat. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be neat. You like it?
I really liked it. Yeah, I heard a lot of, like, before Disney Plus even came out, I guess they had it shown to some test audiences, and I heard it wasn't going very well in the test audiences. They weren't liking it, so I was kind of leery going into it. But no, I really enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was really good, and I liked how they handled the 2 Siamese cats. They kind of stayed away from, if you watch the original,
right? Yeah.
Wow, that's racial profiling if I ever saw it. I liked how they handled that. Yeah, no, I thought it was very well done. And Noelle was another original movie, the Christmas one. Did you catch that one yet?
I saw probably the first 40 minutes of that last night. I didn't get to finish it, but from what I saw of it, it looked good. Great cast.
Oh, she was excellent. The girl that played Noelle, and I mean, I'm terrible with names, but yeah, she was really. I like it was almost like Elf. It was very similar storyline to Elf, except instead of trying to find his father, she's trying to find her brother. But yeah, so it was really well done. What I was thinking is people could be doing marathons now with this Disney Plus that are like, they can make up their own type of marathon watching. Like I like to, like I'll watch on May 4th. I'll sit down and watch 6 Star Wars movies. I have a marathon of Star Wars movies. Like now people can have like Marvel marathons, they can have Pixar marathons. They can have whatever. And I was thinking it'd be a cool one. Now I don't even know if these movies are all in there. Having a Disney attraction marathon.
I love that idea. I think that would be so neat to go through and sort of see what ones you could do, at least at this point. I think that might be a fun one to toss together. Yeah,
like you could watch Pirates of the Caribbean. Just the original. You don't have to watch all 4. I don't even know which ones are in there or not. I haven't gone that deep into it. What do you got? Country Bear Jamboree, Tower of Terror, Tomorrowland is going to be. I'd be kind of neat to see what type of marathons you could put together. Muppet Marathon, which I got to do.
Oh,
the Muppet shorts, I really am enjoying those.
I haven't had a chance to see the Muppet shorts. I want to go back in and check those out. I was sort of disappointed with the TV show that they did with that short run. So I'm sort of looking forward into seeing what they're doing new, as well as being able to go back and see some of the classic Muppet stuff that I grew up on.
Yeah, the shorts are great. They're like between 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay.
But there's like 50 of them or something like that.
Wow.
Like there's a lot of them.
So they'll keep you busy for a little while.
Yeah, it's just they have Muppet shorts and they have the announcer say what the thing is. Then they have a Muppet with a kid. And it kind of reminds me of the old Sesame Street show when Kermit the Frog would interview, or they would do the ABCs and the little girl would say Cookie Monster part, ABC Cookie Monster, like that type of thing. It's very, very cute, and some of them are just hilarious. Like I'm not a fan of kids speak now shows.
Mhm.
What is it? They're all over. There's so many of them.
Right.
You have kids talking. I'm
Mhm.
not a fan of those, but these I really like. But I'm also a big Muppet fan too. So we talked a bit about the cats in Lady and the Tramp.
Right.
So what do you think about like some of these? Like there's some movies. Well, Song of the South in particular is not going to be on, from what I understand. Has Disney come right out and said it's not going to be on ever?
I don't think I've seen it in print anywhere, but I necessarily wouldn't be surprised if they went with that approach, because I mean they've played that hard line of the movie not really being produced in any sort of content in years. So I'm assuming that they'll go the same way.
They'll never release it. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking too. Like, what are your thoughts on that? Like, should they release it? Shouldn't they release it?
That's one I'm really torn on. Because I definitely understand that there's a lot of things that could be very offensive from it.
Yeah.
But then also, like, I've never had a chance to really sit down and see it, but from what I've heard, like, there's some really, of course, all of us know Zippity Doo-Dah, but to my understanding, there's a lot of other great songs from that and things that are sort of missed because of that position. So it's one that I would like to see it for certain reasons, but understand why we don't necessarily want it out there as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like I watched it a couple of years ago. I fell asleep. I couldn't.
Really?
It's honestly, it's not that great of a movie.
Okay.
So,
I'm not missing much.
And I tried watching it a second time and I fell asleep. So, I mean, like the Brer Rabbit and those scenes are great. Uncle Remus singing Zippity Doo-Dah is the highlight of the film. But other than that, they're really, I just was not, I couldn't stay awake for it. I tried twice and I just is Disney doing enough? Like some of the shows I'm watching, like I watched the Davy Crockett movie, the original Davy Crockett movie. Wow. That is really culturally incorrect. Like
Right.
if you want to watch something that you think is like I was like, this should not be on the air. I felt the way they talked about and treated the Native Americans in that movie. Yeah, basically coming right out and calling them savages. It was, and so Disney puts the warning beforehand, but in order to see that warning, you have to go into the details of before the movie plays.
So
you got that home
you have
screen
to prompt it.
Yeah, you got that home screen, and you have to push details in order to read. And what it says is this program is presented as it originally was created. It may contain outdated cultural depictions, which is, I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, that might be something that they may want to put, like even, well, going into park thought is sort of two completely different things, but one of the new things that they did in the parks is that leaf with all the vegetarian or vegetable-based stuff having like an indicator, like even if it's not necessarily like in big bold print somewhere, but having an indicator flag that, hey, you probably want to check the description on this one in case it's not all adults or something like that watching it, or that it may be
I don't know why they can't have it when you push play. That pops up on the screen before the movie starts.
Having like a pop-up box.
Yeah, just kind of like just letting you know before you watch this movie that it's presented in its original format. This is the way things were back then, and people were fine with it back then. But today they're not.
Right.
And they not in those words, but basically what they have written in the details, have that written before you watch the movie. Because I'm watching the movie and I'm going, whoa, what? Like, this is not nice.
Right.
like this is not correct. And it wasn't until after I finished watching the movie I went, why was there no warning before I started watching this? I mean, I would have watched it anyways, but because I've never seen the Davy Crockett's, or maybe if I did, it would have been during the Wonderful World of Color. Way back when I was like 10 or whatever, or 8. But yeah, so I went back and I'm like, why is there no warning on this thing? Like this is worse than Song of the South as far as I could see, or equal. Yeah, so I went back. Oh, you got to press details. Oh, there it is. Now I can read it.
Yeah,
I just thought it was like, this is weird.
It's true, and I mean, coming back to sort of how easy it is to use. My daughter's running the application on an Xbox One. She's never used an Xbox controller prior to the channel being released, and she's only used it like 2 days. And she's navigating the app on herself pretty much by herself completely now.
Yeah.
So she could very
Disney
easily
Plus
go through.
channel. There shouldn't be anything on there that should be offensive or should be,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe putting it behind a parental wall.
Yeah. That would be a great
sort of
idea.
like Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit better than Netflix in some way, because like there's nothing to stop you from going from one profile to the next on Netflix. That was one of my biggest pet peeves with that is we have it on TiVo here. And she can literally just hit the back button to go back to all the profiles and switch Dad's profile if it's not showing up on hers, if she really wanted to. So having something as like a secondary PIN code or something like that might be nice for because it's not like they have a huge library of things that would have that, but there's a handful just because of time period that the stuff was made.
Yeah, exactly. But I think if your 2-year-old daughter decides she wants to watch Davy Crockett instead of, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers or something like that, you got bigger issues.
That's true. That's true. Although she got big on Star Wars while we were down to Disney this time. She was into it when she was little, and then we went down and saw Galaxy's Edge, and all of a sudden she was like big Star Wars again. So now instead of like regular cartoon, she's wanting to watch the Rebels and the live action movies and everything. So
now that's what I call good parenting, right there. that's good parenting. There's a lot of stuff coming. Like, we think we got a lot already. There's stuff coming down the road that I was kind of looking at. Have you had a chance to look at what's coming up?
I have, and the list is huge.
Yeah.
This is tip of the iceberg right now, and it's so exciting to see some of the stuff that I think would have potentially never seen the light of day a few years ago that we're going to get now, like The Mandalorian. I mean, I don't think we would have been able, I think, or at least we would have needed a lot more time for us to get a big budget Mandalorian, like no named Mando movie. So
or TV series, like
right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, George Lucas was working on the Underworld series, and he had written several episodes of it. And I'm wondering, do you think these are the Underworld stories that he wrote?
I don't know. Based on them? That's a very interesting idea. If they're either pulling
our
some
listeners
of it,
that don't know, just really quick, George Lucas, before he sold Star Wars and Lucasfilm to Disney, he was working on a TV series called, it was unofficial name, I guess, was called Star Wars Underworld. And it was kind of, it sounds an awful lot like how Mandalorian is, in that it was like the low lives kind of the Star Wars universe, for lack of a better word. And it was basically about bounty hunters and smugglers type of thing. And George Lucas had written a whole bunch of stories for this TV series that was going to come out. And I guess they ran the numbers and said it would be too expensive to make for television as of that day. So they put the stories on the shelf, and he said someday they'll see the light of day. I'm wondering if we're seeing them now. It's
a big possibility. I mean, Dave Filoni worked with him hand in hand for years. So, I mean, I'm sure he was well aware of what George had planned in those series. And so I wouldn't be surprised if at least components weren't being pulled, if not seeing whole episodes used.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. So the next kind of movie to come out that isn't available currently is as early as November 29th. Is that next week after? Coco is going to be coming out. And there'll be 6 more movies in 2019 being released on Disney Plus. Movies that aren't currently available on Disney Plus will be coming out, starting with Coco. Then for 2020, I counted the ones that they have announced so far. 52 movies they've announced coming out so far for 2020 that aren't currently available on Disney Plus. So a movie a week we're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, just that alone makes the price of the channel worth it. Like a movie a week, I mean, you're going to spend twice what you are on the channel to go to a movie once. So
to rent a movie is $5,
right?
At least in Canada. To rent a movie on like on video on demand is $5.
Yeah, it's same here. It's somewhere between 5 and 7, depending on if it's standard def or high def.
Yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of new original content coming out for 2020. Falcon and the Winter Soldier was one of the highlights that I wanted to point out. There was something called Family Sundays. Have you heard at all what that is?
Family Sundays, I actually saw. That's actually out now.
Oh, okay. What is that?
It's clear on the right-hand side. Basically what it is, and actually this one's sort of nice for my wife and my daughter, is it's probably about 10-15 minute video. Basically gives a craft of sorts to do on like a Sunday when you have the kids at home. And so like one of them was taking a little canopy piece and turning it into a big dog top tent like from Dumbo.
Okay, I watched that. I watched that one. Okay, yeah. Okay.
And,
I thought that was kind of goofy. They made a Dumbo tent like that a kid could stand in.
Yeah, it was pretty small. Yeah,
it started off looking so cool, and by the end of it, I went, "This is ridiculous."
Yeah, the size was definitely not proportionate to sort of what you thought you were going to get out of the thing, but it's a nice little something else for them to do. The Mermaid Tale was definitely closer to being a nice project with actually having something finished. They had some cloth that they cut, and they cut scales and put it on it and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've only watched the one so far with the Dumbo tent. This One Day at Disney is coming out, December 3rd, I think.
Yes. That, besides the Marvel Star Wars stuff, that's probably the one that I'm looking most forward to, is that One Day at Disney, because of getting that behind the scenes look at all these different types of roles. I always enjoy when Disney does like the behind the scenes stuff, the Decorating Disney, those types of shows. So I'm looking forward to being able to see all these different types of roles.
Yeah, I went to the panel of that one, the One Day at Disney panel. They had a panel exclusively for that. And basically what they did was they picked one day and they filmed, thinking it was like 8 or 9 cast members on the same day.
Oh, wow.
So they followed the cast members. It was all on the exact same days when they were doing this. And I guess one of those cast member roles that they followed was the guy that works at the lot at the Disney Studios. And another one they followed was an ABC weather reporter.
Oh, okay.
Is another cast member that I'm guessing is a cast member, as he's a Los Angeles or California weather helicopter guy.
Oh, yeah.
So the funny thing was so there was a report of a fire at the Disney Studios. And so the weather guy was in the helicopter. So he went to go report on this fire. And the producers of One Day at Disney were like, well, we have our crew at that studio recording this, one of the guys that works at the studio. So they're like, well, what's going on? So they're watching ABC News and they're hearing about this fire, breaking news of Disney Studios are on fire, the helicopter's going. So they call the guy that, like the director that's filming the studio guy, and they're saying, what's going on? There's a fire there. And he goes, no, he says, it's a controlled fire. We're filming a movie and we're part of the movie, the fire.
Wow.
So they were like, oh, they had a sigh of relief. They were worried that this was going to ruin their production, that they were
right.
He says, no. We're filming a movie today, and there's a controlled burn going on.
Sure, they were all relieved on that.
Heading there, going, Disney World's on fire. The Disney Studios is on fire.
Right. Well, what was it? Iger did a tweet. Oh, not too well. I guess it was probably beginning of summer when there were those fires out in California, and he could see them from his office window. So I'm sure that's a concern at points during the year for them. So.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That would be a concern. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. Did you pre-order the book? You could pre-order a book for this thing.
I didn't, and
I mean, I don't know. I'm not that much into it.
Right. I think I'll enjoy the series. I'll maybe after the series, then I'll look again the book, depending on how much I like it.
I got so many books I haven't read yet. Never mind, I don't need another one.
Yeah.
That looks like it's going to be fun. And now the way I understood, I could be wrong, is that so it's going to come up with the special, and then it's going to continue following cast members in a series. Is that the way you understand it as well?
That's the way I understand it too, is that it will continue on. I don't know if they'll pick like one day and continue to do it as groups of like 6 or 8 or whatever.
Yeah.
Moving forward, but
maybe it's going to be a series of 8 and this is the first series. Like season 1 is going to be this day.
Right.
Maybe that's how it's going to be. I had a kind of hard time following it during the panel. Those conventions, you get tired and you start...
Oh yeah, yeah. They can wear on you after a while.
Yeah. There's 2 new Star Wars series coming out, Cassian Andor and Obi-Wan Kenobi, starring Ewan McGregor, who played Obi-Wan in episodes 1, 2, and 3. So we got perfect casting for that one already.
Right.
Which one are you most excited for?
Truthfully, I'm torn. I lean towards the Cassian one, mainly because of K2SO. I'm a huge Alan Tudyk fan. He was the one person that I paid to meet during Celebration. And so I enjoy a lot of his other stuff that he makes. Great voice actor. I'm a Firefly fan. Brown coat. I should have just went with brown coat.
You're a brown coat, in other words.
Right. Although the only people that would know what that was if they were a Firefly fan as well.
So. Well, I knew you were a brown coat, so I like that goes to show you where I am.
Right. So yeah, I think that one should be very interesting. Although I love Ewan McGregor so I think that both are going to give us some interesting things. I'm sort of crossing my fingers that maybe that they take the Obi-Wan series sort of at least partially along the lines of the Kenobi book. I don't know if you had a chance to read that one or what, or even if you just get a chance catch the audiobook on that. It's with how much you say you like The Mandalorian, it's sort of that old Western feel book. So I think I listened to that one as an audiobook, and it was done well. Check that out.
It's going to be based between episode 3 and 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be about the timeline that they did that book. So
yeah. You don't hear too much about. Well, I guess there really wasn't much before episode 1 for Obi-Wan, other than him kid,
right?
Or training with Yoda. Bunch of Marvel stuff coming out. Hawkeye, Loki, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, what else?
She-Hulk.
What's that?
She-Hulk.
There's a She-Hulk? I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, there's a She-Hulk. That one was just recently announced.
WandaVision, What If?
The What If, I'm very excited for that one. I haven't had a chance to read a lot of the What If comics, but that one I think is sort of neat. Short clip, give you sort of like, well, what if this person was different in some way? Like they had Agent Carter, the woman that plays Peggy Carter. They're doing an episode on what if she carried the mantle of Captain America basically and took the super serum. It's going to be one of the episodes. So that one looks real neat to me.
Yeah, and it's an animated series, that one.
Yes.
Because they showed a bit of it the D23 Expo. WandaVision is another one I'm excited for.
Yeah, it'll be nice
that's
to sort
a bit
of
down the road.
Timeline.
Same with What If. What If I think is quite.
Yeah, I think a lot of those are like late 2020,
early 2021. Yeah. So Disney has plans to keep you subscribing. That's
right.
That's for sure.
Yeah, that 3-year subscription, if you were able to snag it with a discount, is going to be worth it. So,
which wasn't available for Canadians, unfortunately.
I know that was sad, and I actually held off, so I don't even have it myself. I could have grabbed it as a D23 member, like after that event, and we kept going. We got a trip coming up. We're watching our budget. We'll get it later. And my wife was like, I don't know if it's going to be worth it for that long. And now she like a weekend. She's like, oh, it's worth every penny. It doesn't matter what price they make this. I'm going to pay it.
And now, do you think they're going to raise the price much a year from now?
I don't know that we'll see a huge increase. I think that they'll hold it for a little while. I think that they're probably getting a good turnout, especially now that a couple of those series have actually seen the light of day and people have had a chance to talk about The Mandalorian and the Imagineering
series,
series and stuff like that. I think that those are going to sell it. I think that actually I had a couple people mention the High School Musical series, that they were in love with that new series. I watched a few minutes of it, but I wasn't a big High School Musical fan
I'm the
myself,
same
and
way.
so
I didn't watch it at all.
right.
And they
So,
started off the D23 Expo Disney Plus panel with High School Musical, the musical.
oh, that's
And
right.
they had all these cheerleaders come out and all that, and I'm like, what is this? I hope this gets better. They're not starting off with their good stuff as far as I was concerned.
Right. They knew you'd wait around for the other stuff, so.
Yeah. Clone Wars Season 7 is going to be available soon, too. That's another one I'm really excited about.
Yeah, that won't be nice to see. I'm interested in seeing how they tie it together, because spoil anything, but there's some ties in from commercials for Episode 9 that tie in potentially with the end of Clone Wars and Rebels. So there's some interesting things.
Commercials from Episode 9. What did you say?
Yeah, there's some hidden tidbits in the commercial for Episode 9 that tie back in with Clone Wars and with Rebels.
Like the trailer, you mean?
Yeah, the trailer actually has some little things that are hidden in certain shots that sort of tie in. So I'm sort of wondering if they're going to give us the information that we'll know, or
different eras, though.
It is, but there's a few pieces that they'll come together from the look of it. So sort of like the fact that we have R2 and C-3PO. There's a few other potential things that were actually seen in Episode 9, also in partial reference.
Okay.
For
like the wolf pack type of thing, or
the wolf pack,
the horses.
Chopper was actually seen. And
hang on, Chopper was in the Episode 9 trailer.
Yeah, not in Episode. He wasn't in Episode 9 trailer. He was in Episode 8 in the background.
Okay, right, gotcha. All right,
but there's some other things that sort of tie in with that look potentially like they're in Episode 9, but I don't know if how much we're going to get in 9 that's actually going to confirm things, versus if we're going to have to wait for things from the end of Clone Wars to sort of get an idea of where people fall. As far as like if they could be involved or not.
Okay.
So sort of an in the weed thing.
One of the ones I'm really looking forward to that's coming out, I believe it's 2020, is Disney Now. Or sorry, Muppets Now.
Yes.
The trailer for that was funny as all get out.
Really? I haven't caught the trailer for that one.
They showed it at the D23 Expo, and I haven't seen it anywhere else. They made us put our phones away and all that, but basically what it was it started off with Kermit the Frog announcing, we have a new series coming, and we're going to have special guests, and then there's Larry the Weasel, who's like a new Muppet, and he goes, hang on. He says, I'm not Larry the Weasel, Larry the Lawyer, but he is a weasel.
Okay.
Larry the Lawyer. He tells Kermit, you can't announce that. It's too early. This is a teaser trailer. This isn't a trailer. You can't say who's going to be on. And Kermit goes, well, can I mention? He goes, no, you can't mention that person. He goes, well, can I say we're going to be doing? No, you can't. So there was like very little announced. Like but it was funny just the way they did it. And then they released a statement somehow. I'm not sure if it was on the internet or if it was on the screen. But anyways, it was Muppets Now is going to be featuring, and everything was blacked out.
So it was a redacted document.
Yeah, like the CIA had got his hands on it first or something.
That's funny.
So basically, we have no idea. I'm really hoping it's about the Muppets get the Muppet Theater back, and they have these special guests every week.
Oh, that's what I was hoping for the TV series. Was that it was basically just slightly updated for the time, but it was basically the Muppet Show over again. So I'm hopeful for that.
Why they can't do that? Like it's and there's so many young stars now that would just love to be on.
Oh my goodness.
On a Muppet Show like that. It'd be so easy for them to. I could cast them probably.
Right. Well, the thing is, and they own so much property now that you could pull from sci-fi actors and mainstream TV and singers, etc. It would be so easy for them to pull all those together. Just makes sense.
Yeah. But anyways, so it's Exciting times for sure. Like I say, we're a little over a week in. We got our 1-year subscription each. Sure, most of you listening have your 1-year subscription. And for those of you listening, what is your favorite thing that you watched so far? I think for both Justin and myself, it's easily The Mandalorian. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what is your favorite thing that you watched so far? Message me or put it in the comments. And Justin, once more, where can they get a hold of you if they want to book a trip?
Dreams by Design Travel, Facebook.com/snapshot Justin. Justin at Dreams by Design Travel.
Nice. And with that, Ken, take it away.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to join the adventure in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. If you would just like to keep the conversation going, then visit us on our Facebook page at The Solo Show. And come back for the next edition of The Solo Show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.